Well, hello everyone and happy Thursday. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like January was the hangover from 2020. It was a little bit of a hectic month there. How do you all feel about January? I feel like 2021 is starting now in February. Can we all just own that? We'll just, kind of forget about January and let's start 2021 right now. I just want to tell you guys something. I was just reading an article that I saw that hiring slipped 2.8% in January. And overall, it's dropped 7.6% from last year. So opportunities in traditional hiring are actually slipping. But don't let that derail you from finding a new job, or better yet, how about a new career? Are you ready to have a better career, one that fits your lifestyle? I'm going to tell you that today's summit, Women of Wealth Summit, you're going to hear from some amazing women, but not just about how successful they are. They're going to be real stories about their struggles and their backgrounds. And I'm sure there's someone here that you can relate to. We are doing these monthly summits because we want to present you guys with new opportunities. Let's not think about traditional opportunities out there because those are few and far between right now. Let's think about opportunities that are best for you and your family. Maybe you're a mom, homeschooling, doing that Zoom thing. That's a little hectic, right? If you were trying to drive to an office, because one day offices will open again. But maybe you never want to go back to an office. I know I would never, ever go back to those four walls, right? Maybe you want a remote career permanently so you can be more present in your family's life. We've got a wonderful opportunity for you today. We want you to just listen in and see if this is the right fit for you. But before we get started, I want you to hit that share button right down there, you guys. Whatever platform you're watching on, can you just hit that share button for us so we can reach more people and provide more opportunities? What are your goals for this year? We want to hear about your goals, but we also want to remind you that a goal is just a dream unless you take action. So step number one, or first plan of action, is to watch this live summit and see if we can help you achieve your goals and dreams. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Fainbrand, co-host of the WOW Summits, Women of Wealth. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Holly Woods right now, my friend and colleague. Hello.
Hey, Mary. Well, I'm glad we got the memo that today's color is this reddish, maroon.
I love it. I love that we're matching. It's so good to see you again. We haven't seen each other since December.
I know, right?
How did your
2021?
How did 2021 start off for you, Holly?
Yeah, good. I bought a house. However, bad in the fact that I was down for a couple of weeks with no voice, and I don't know if I had coronavirus. I didn't get tested, but I have been quarantined for more than 14 days, so I'm not out there spreading it or anything. But so definitely the hangover was real for me. It had nothing to do with alcohol.
Right? I just feel like January, I saw this somewhere, like January was the hangover from 2020. Like, because we all were like, January, new year, it's going to be fabulous. And it was one thing after another throughout the nation and in people's personal lives that I was hearing stories that January didn't start off strong like they thought they were. So we're just calling it the hangover of 2020. And February is the new January for 2021.
Cool. That means I get to celebrate my birthday in a few days because my birthday was in January and I was out. I was sick for it. So
there you go.
I'm going to celebrate on my son's birthday, which is the 24th of February. So
I love it. I love it. And I didn't mention in the intro that, we do these online summits to present opportunities for all those out there watching. And there's a couple things I want you guys to know. I love Holly. Wait, this way. I love Holly. We're friends and colleagues. I help her produce this. I'm not getting paid as someone from Appreciation Financial, but I do want to share with you guys that I'm a client. I'm actually a client of Holly's because I believe in what she does, because it's just such a great value of what I'm getting. And she has my best interest at heart. So once you start hearing these stories, if you're looking for a career where it's meaningful and has purpose and you get to help people and then you get paid for it, this is it. I keep joking with Holly that in my next career, I just might join her team. So, because I truly, truly believe in the work that they're doing and this community of women that you've created, Holly. It's amazing. I'm so lucky that I get to meet everyone through you and hear their stories. So,
well, the cool thing is that Appreciation Financial, we have a bunch of powerhouse women. They're not all on my team, but today I'm excited with some of the women that are coming on, especially my co-founder of WOW originally, Lisa Ryerson. And then, of course, my co-author of my book, who's not even with Appreciation Financial. She has her own financial services company. And we're just going to talk about how great the insurance and financial services industry is for women. And of course, we're going to give a shameless plug for the book too.
I love it. And so Nathan just joined us and he was laughing at the hangover of 2020. Thank you for joining us, Nathan. And just so that you know, Nathan, this opportunity is also for men, but we're focusing on women today. But, maybe Nathan, someone who's looking for a new opportunity, hit that share button and tag them in, the comments so they'll see this video. Nathan's someone that I met on LinkedIn, and he's been an asset to my community and my network. So thanks for joining in.
Awesome.
So, Holly, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been with it?
So it's funny because I was just on a training this week, and when they were introducing me, they're like, she might be might be the longest running female in the company. I'm not, but I am the longest running female in the leadership position that I'm in. So I've been with Appreciation for a little over 9.5 years. I have a team across Southern California and a couple agents in Arizona. But we go all the way up to Bakersfield and then down to San Diego. And of course, Appreciation Financial has agents across the nation. I do have people now in Georgia and Alabama and Texas and on the East Coast as well. So, this is an opportunity that spreads nationwide. What I love about Appreciation Financial is the people. We always talk about the Appreciation Financial or our AF family, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as I bring some of the guests on. But what I love about that is I just love the people, not just the people that I work with, but the clients that we serve. We have a very niche market. We work with educators primarily. And so every day we're sitting down with teachers and staff and showing them how their pension works. And then we have products that help them fill their income gap so they can retire with the dignity that they deserve. And of course, we can help anyone, but that's just our niche market.
Right. Because I'm not a teacher. Because I'm not a teacher, but you helped me. And I just want to share my experience. Do you mind if I kind of share our story?
Go for it.
So Holly and I actually met through helping moms networking, like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while. And, we hit it off. And then, Holly hired me and we worked together, and we've kept in touch loosely. And then it was going to be time for me to do something with my retirement, right? So I was having some changes going on in my life, and I needed to do something with the money that I had sitting there. So I'm not a teacher, but you know what? I knew Holly could help me. It's that trust factor, you guys. I know Holly. I trust her. I like Holly, right? I like Holly. We would hang out in person if that was a thing we could do this year. And so, we did meet, we met for lunches. I had a ton of questions because I gotta be honest, you guys, I don't get the retirement stuff. I just know I have to put money aside and it'll be there if I'm smart with it. That's how I think of retirement. Put money aside, forget about it, let it just earn its interest, and it will be there at the end. But I had a lot of questions. And so Holly was I just want to say, you were so patient with me. You kept explaining things. And when I'd be like, okay, I don't really understand that, you'd break it down into terms that I could understand. And I feel like not with all financial advisors that you would get that understanding and patience. Like, that's my money, right? I might not understand where I need to put it, but I want to understand the process and the why. And so Holly was instrumental in making me feel comfortable of handing over my portfolio to her to diversify and to keep it safe and long-term health coverage and all this other stuff that someone around my age really should have. So if you're watching, yeah.
You forgot to mention that I got to talk to your dad too. You know,
Okay, I wasn't going to bring that
I love that. I love when people still have their parents involved. Lisa's still involved with her parents too. They talk about all this kind of stuff all the time as well. So I can't wait for her to share about that. But the same thing is like, I talked to your dad and he's like, yes, you need to do this. And,
Right.
that is really reassuring when you have that stamp of approval from mom or dad.
That's true. And I might be in my 50s, but I was like, Dad, okay. He was like, do you have your long-term health care insurance? And what are you doing with your retirement? And I was like, oh my gosh, I know you've been on my case forever. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to Holly. And he's like, who's this Holly? Who's Holly? How do you know her? What are her credentials? He literally drilled me. How long has she been doing this? Right? And how do you know she's the right one? So literally my dad was drilling me and I was telling Holly and she was like, well, I'll just jump on a call with you and your dad. I was like, really? I was kind of like, it's kind of embarrassing, but my dad knows retirement and investments way more than I do. And so we jumped on a Zoom call and not even halfway through, my dad was like, she's good. I like her. You can give her your money to put away. So I was like, oh, wow, that's impressive for my dad that fast, right? So bring your parents to the table. Bring your parents to the call. You're right.
Never know. Yeah.
Never know.
Definitely. Well, I think we should get this show on the road and get some of these guests on here.
I think so. So we're going to bring Lisa up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lisa was a co-founder of WOW. When we first started WOW, it was our women's initiative at Appreciation Financial. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Hall. How are you?
Good. So it's funny, huh? Talking about parents being involved.
Yes.
You're involved with your parents' finances now, aren't you?
Yeah, I feel like tables have kind of turned a little bit too. I used to just always listen to what my dad would tell me to do because he has so much experience in investments and all these things. And here we are. And now I'm kind of helping, I've been helping him for the last few years. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know you're not really in this role anymore, but I do want you to share a little bit about how you got connected with Appreciation Financial. What was your journey like? I mean, for those that don't know, you can share about being Rookie of the Year, our first female Rookie of the Year, and all that good stuff. But yeah, just share a little bit about your appreciation journey.
Yeah, so about, let's see, gosh, we're in 2021. So 7 years ago, a little over 7 years ago, my husband came home and he said, are you ready to go back to work? I was a stay-at-home mom, two little ones at the time. And I go, no, I really like teaching tennis part-time. And I really like, having my own schedule and going to lunch with my girlfriends. He goes, well, I want you to check out this opportunity. So I sat down with our CEO at the time, CEO Terry Kennedy, and he presented this opportunity. And I just couldn't believe it because it was one of those things where I can make my own schedule, sky's the limit to how much I can make. It just seemed too good to be true. So I said, you know what? I'm going to try it out. I'm going to try it out because where else can I find a great position where I have that flexibility? Like I can still be a mom first and foremost, but also do something that I'm passionate about. So in 2014 is when I started with Appreciation. And it was funny, the other day somebody said, how long have you been with them? And I said, 6 years. And I go, wait a minute, I just hit my 7th year anniversary just in January. So yeah, and it's been great ever since. It's a lot of hard work in the very beginning. I knew nothing about the insurance industry, knew nothing about retirement planning, anything like that. But with the help of you and so many other wonderful mentors in the company, I was able to get up and going. And within about 4 months, things really started clicking and it was great.
Yeah, it was funny. When Lisa first got started, we used to do business different than we do it now. Now we're completely virtual, but she called me and she's like, what do I do? And so I gave her tips. And then the next thing I know, she had like 60 appointments. And I'm like, oh my God, slow down. You're going to burn out. You're going to burn out, right? So she figured it out, but obviously she can handle the 60 appointments plus. But she's like, I think I'm going to have to reschedule some of these luncheons that I have set up because I have 60 appointments. I'm like, yeah, you definitely are. So, there's obviously a balance and a little bit of a learning curve when you first come in. I was brand new to the industry as well when I first started. It took me a little while. But what was that first year like once you got your groove and you started figuring it out? I mean, obviously you just have that personality, but how do you feel? How do you feel you really were able to be that first rookie of the year?
Yeah, so it took me about, I want to say the first 4 months was a blur. It was a complete blur. I woke up every morning going, oh my gosh, am I really doing this? And then by month 6, I really found my groove. And what was really important was I found my why. Like, why am I in this industry? Why is what we do on a daily basis, why is it so important? And once I figured that out, which was, gosh, if we don't help middle America, who is going to help them? Right. And so that was really important. And once I really figured out my passion for helping people and giving back, that's when it just, I think it was just kind of, it really drove me to not, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about making numbers. It wasn't any of these things. It was really going, okay, if I can help X amount of people, then I'm doing my job, right? I'm really helping people in the retirement plans. And so that was really important for me to continue to push forward. And the next thing I woke up a year later and it just all came to fruition.
Yeah. And then the cool thing about that, for those that don't know, is that your husband and his business partners decided to join Appreciation, and they brought in quite a significant amount of people and production and all of that. And it was really all because of Lisa's adventure and to get to the place that she was at. So that was really cool. I always have admired you and Jam's relationship, but I think that part, sometimes people don't really see that was how it started. You know what I mean? And I love that you guys lean on each other the way that you do, but I don't think that as many people see that he leaned on you for that as, was really during that time, So talk a little bit about it, because now you guys have transitioned into doing some other things, especially you with the Let's Go Win. So talk a little bit about that and share how that all came together.
Yeah. So real quick on the backstory is, at the time when I took on the position at Appreciation, JM was with a different company and he was really struggling. And I just decided, hey, if I can take on a position and make decent money, then my husband would be able to have other options. And so that's what led me to being the guinea pig for that first year. And I never thought I'd still be here. And here I am, right? 7 years later, and I love it. And in the interim, because of the flexibility, something that we started, gosh, it's been a year now, is Let's Go Win. And so my husband, you can see the book behind us. My husband wrote a book. We published it a year ago. And it's just this 2020, even though it was super crazy for everybody, it actually allowed us to have time to really build it and to work on coaching and helping others, because that's what we're truly passionate about. So that's what we've been doing. And we have our online course is going to get launched here February 15th.
All right. So that's great, right? Someone just asked about what are some of the goals for 2021. And that would be one of them, right? The online course.
Yes.
What else do you guys have going as far as goal setting goes?
Yeah. So online course is developed. It's going to get launched. We have a mastermind group that we will be starting as well as a group class, to help everyone live their best life. That's our main mission, is helping people reach their goals. And the other thing, which is a big one for me for this year, is starting our nonprofit. So it's going to be called Let's Go Give, because that's what I'm most passionate about, is giving back. So it's definitely going to be for a nonprofit for cancer research, because my brother passed away. It's been 8 years now. So from cancer.
Before I met you, I know. Yeah, well, I'm excited. I love the name, Let's Go Give.
That was JM. We'll give him credit for that.
Awesome. So, you guys still have a pretty significant team. And even though day to day you might not be in Appreciation, you're still part of the Appreciation family. So what does that really mean to you? Because I know that you guys really, as the culture has grown and changed, you guys have been really significant in that. So how do you feel about our AF family, and what do you think when people talk about it?
Oh, it just gives me chills, right? AF family is something so special to us, and it you know, a lot of times people go and they work for a company and they call each other their coworkers, right? They're coworkers. It's just whatever. You go to work with them, you make happy hour with them. At Appreciation, we truly are a family. And the reason being is it's not just we go to work with people, we go to meetings with people. We actually have family vacations together. I know that Holly and Bobby and Jackson have come up to stayed at our house and vice versa. We are constantly having our AF family. They are truly family. And it's family that you can choose, right? Which I think is the best thing ever. Because you typically can't choose your family. In this scenario, we get to choose our family. And we absolutely love everybody that's in the company. And we get excited when we get together for conventions. Well, not this year, but typically conventions, our WOW retreats that we used to have. I mean, it's a really exciting time, you know, our 100K trips, all these things and you'll see everybody on Facebook and they go, are you ready? We're going to see our AF family. Because we truly, I mean, that's how close we all are, which is amazing.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Lisa, thanks so much for coming on today. I'm going to bring on our next guest, but I just want to say thank you and hang out because we'll have a culture question at the end as well. And we might do some other goals too. So if you have something on the personal side that's kind of personal. It's also a little business. So maybe something for the kids or something at the end. So thanks again for coming on and joining us today.
Thanks for having me on, Hall.
All right. Well, wow.
So fascinating. I didn't know her backstory, right? That her husband's like, hey, check out this opportunity. And she started it. And then him and his team, you know, they came on board. That's what I love about this. So as we've done, this is like, I don't know, our 5th or 6th, I don't know what summit. What I've learned is that this becomes a family business. It has the ability to be a family business. And if it's a family business, you're creating a legacy, right? So I just see so much potential here, like the husband, wife, the mother, daughter, the niece, uncle, whatever it is, like you can just bring other people into it. So I love that.
It's really true. I mean, it's interesting because whenever Lisa was first getting introduced to Appreciation Financial, they're like, oh, as a stay-at-home mom who's a tennis coach part-time. And then when I met her, she's like this firecracker, right? She just came in and made this explosion with Appreciation Financial. It's like, no. I mean, like, she was nothing, like, you don't describe somebody like that as, you know, just somebody who works part-time or whatever. No. She's going to come in and break records. You know what I mean?
That's
so
right.
You never know. Like she said, once you figure out what your why is, and at Appreciation Financial, there's so many different whys that you could have, but they usually all come underneath one of our mantras, which are, we help a lot of people, we create life-changing wealth, and we get better every day. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the rest of the show. But I mean, seriously, like once you figure out which one of those you connect to the most, and some people it's all 3 of them, you know, especially like me being here as long as I have, it changes. Like some days I'm all about helping people, or then I might be on a call like I was today and I'm like, maybe you just need to call CalSTRS and figure it out on your own. You don't think you want to give me any information so I can help you. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, we're going to have Pamela Altman come on next. I'm excited for her to share her story. Hi, Pamela. I'm excited for you to share your story because now it goes from, you know, East Coast to Mountain Standard Time. So welcome. How are you doing?
Well, thank you. I'm just honored to be here as a part of this group of pretty amazing women.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't you just share with the audience a little bit about your story, how you got introduced to Appreciation, maybe some of your backstory on what you were doing before you came here.
Sure. So I was thinking about how many years. It's actually been about 6 years now since I've come on to Appreciation. And actually, my boss at an old previous position, Darren Hacker, who's one of our top people in the company, brought me in. He said, this is an opportunity like no other. I'd just been doing life insurance, and he said, there's so much more you can do. And to boot, you get to work with teachers. And having been a teacher for so long, that really spoke to me, to have the opportunity to really be impactful and help them, because having been a teacher, I know how little I knew about it. But coming into the industry was a little daunting. It was really a little bit uncomfortable for me in the beginning. There were a lot of bumps in the road. But, the more you keep doing it, the more you keep being willing to learn, being coachable, because we have so many great people that just want to pour into you, the more you start to pick it up, and then it becomes fun.
Absolutely. And so, we were talking a little bit about like Lisa's why she came in. That's a great why that you had. But why the move? Why the move from, I mean, I know the story. You and I have talked about it, but tell everybody else, why'd you move from Ohio to Arizona? I mean, besides the weather, of course.
Well, that's certainly a big factor. I mean, having been a single mom for my kids almost entire life, that was always a big why for me, being able to be a present mother, being able to be a part of their lives. So coming into appreciation, that was great. It allowed me to really spend a lot more time with them than I had opportunity in the past. And then moving out west was just something as they grew, and they're now often starting their own lives. My daughter's in college here in Tucson, so that certainly made it a little bit easier for me to choose where is my next move. But really just being able to kind of stretch and spread my wings and just do something different. I always say I'm a little bit of a wanderlust. I need change sometimes to grow. And so I just said, you know what? I've been here a really long time, and as scary as it is to maybe move across country and start all over again, it's been great. It's just been, yes, weather's been great, but I think the change was needed.
Well, I think that really speaks a lot to the flexibility at Appreciation Financial, because it's not like you had to get your resume together, find a new career, like get all your ducks in a row before you moved. You could move. And especially when you did move, we've already shifted to this virtual atmosphere. So talk a little bit about that and how important that is to have that flexibility.
Well, yeah, the flexibility or the freedom I think it brings you in this business is huge for me. But it was something, I think the virtual world has really just opened this up. I think we've all found we are so much even more efficient. We're not always having to travel from school to school, so we can help a lot more people in the same amount of time. But being able to just shift my business from one city to another with really just, moving a physical desk and those things, it was easy because I could still maintain that connection and that flexibility, as you said, to not have to start all over again, but be able to just kind of pick up where I left off. That makes a new move a lot easier when you've got that to focus on. You've got that's, still in your schedule and routine, and those things seem the same. So it made the less a little bit less scary, but having the flexibility to do that and being able to plan ahead for the time to move across country, because how much this job allows us to really pick and choose times where we can really, I call them my 90-day grinds, where I'll really be in there and really focus because I know, hey, I may want or need to take off some time. So the flexibility that we have in this business is so amazing.
Yeah. And I just, well, I love to hear that because, I'm going to make a move here in a few months, and I wasn't really worried about that part of it. Even just moving from San Diego to Orange County, it was different in the fact that my business wasn't already virtual. But now that we're virtual, it's like you can work from anywhere now. And it's like a great opportunity. I think also, people think about being in insurance, right? They kind of think of this old, staunchy kind of industry that we've been in. But wouldn't you say that this last year, things have really opened up as far as it being so, I don't know. We're still regulated, don't get me wrong, but wouldn't you say that with some of the changes that have happened over the last year that we've gotten a lot less staunchy and all of
Absolutely.
more people are worried about life insurance, right?
Right. But everybody's at home. I think everybody's a little more relaxed. I feel like when I'm meeting with people, you've got almost this family atmosphere. You're meeting the husband or wife. You're seeing the kids running around. I think everybody just kind of fell into this, hey, we're here to help. And it's a lot less stuffy. It's not as maybe formal. We're still professional for sure.
Right.
But I think this just kind of took us down to a little bit more relaxed feel, which is great for teachers because they don't want to be talked at. They really want to have that understanding. I love that we get to educate educators, so we say, because it allows us to be real with people.
So what are some of your goals for 2021?
Well, big goal was to really grow my business this year. I'm really looking to be able to help more people, but I need more people to be able to do that. Right now, the problem is we have so many people who need our help, who want to be seen. And so that's a big focus for me, is to be able to grow and find some good people who want to do what we do and want to be able to help a lot of people and learn a lot. The other big goal for me this year is really just to be more directly impactful. How can I help other people get really good at this business? What maybe little nuggets do I have that I can share and help somebody else, reach their goals, or help somebody else get past some of the uncomfortability that they're feeling or the fears that they're feeling? Because you can do this. I think this is a business. If you put in the effort and you're willing to take some coaching, you can be successful in this business.
And what would you say, like, let's say somebody who has always worked in corporate America, or maybe they've always had a 9-to-5 job, maybe not in corporate America, maybe at a small business. What do you think would be a transition plan for them to help them get into something like what we do?
Well, our training platform really allows everybody to come through and make that transition kind of on their own time frame. So I think that's a huge part of what we do. But transitioning out of that into our world, I think would probably be pretty easy, because you're going to find yourself with a lot of freed up time. A lot of time that now you get to schedule for yourself. I think that's the biggest transition, is all the additional freedoms. Sometimes it's hard for people to remember, hey, I still have to have a schedule and a routine and a calendar. So I think that sometimes is the hardest transition. But overall, I think the way we kind of plan and step everybody through each part of what we do and how we do it makes it really pretty easy.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that, now, I mean, I don't know if you saw this statistic, but my assistant, Allie, posted something on one of the platforms, and it said that in December, 100% of the jobs lost were lost by women.
Wow.
100%. And there was and the reason why it wasn't like 100% of the jobs were lost by women, it was based on the numbers. So the numbers of people that lost jobs were like 156,000, let's just say. It might not, don't quote me on the numbers, anyone. Men replaced 114,000 jobs. Women didn't get replaced on as many number of jobs. So it's like the market for women, like Mary was talking about earlier, like if you're a mom and you're doing, school at home and you're trying to work, how difficult is that? Especially if your job is something where you do have to go into an office. So there is a lot of opportunity here. There are a lot of moms that are, I have a 7-year-old, so he's in school. Lisa has 2 that are in school. Pamela's kids are in college now, right? Are both of them in college, or you have?
Are now college and working. So
yeah.
But I know the struggles of having kids at home and trying to balance it all.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. It can be a lot, right? So it definitely is something for people to keep track. And I hope you guys heard what Pamela was saying about needing more people on her team. That's why we do these summits, is for you to find out more about it. But not only that, just to hear from all the different leaders across the country that we're hiring. We're hiring people in Arizona or in Ohio or wherever they might be. I know right now we have a lot of appointments in Minnesota for some reason. That just happens to be a place where there's a lot of people who need help, So like if you know somebody in Minnesota, tag them in this call, get them on the line if they're looking for something new to do, or maybe they're already in insurance. We have a lot of agents that come in that are already in insurance, and they do really well here too, as long as they're willing to learn something new. So what do you think about the AF family? Lisa and I talked about that a little bit, but I know you just had an opportunity to spend some time with some of the leadership in Arizona. How'd you guys reconnect so quickly?
We used to do it about 4 times a year where we got together as a leadership group, and we have just the friendships that form there. And usually the first thing we start those meetings with is, what's your purpose for coming here? And without question, around the table, everyone's like, I'm here to reconnect. I'm here to see friends. I'm here to spend time with everyone. Yes, we have actual goals and things we're trying to figure out, but it's really about being able to spend time with one another. When we talk about AF family, I try to explain to people, it's not just lip service. It's not like, oh, we say that. You really do feel like you have family and support and friendships that just continue to grow. And when we didn't see each other for a long time face to face, that was really hard for me anyway, but I think it was unusual and hard for all of us. The hugs that went around were not in short supply. The laughter that we had was certainly extensive. I think I came home and all my stomach muscles were sore. So I think we made up for lost time pretty quickly, but it's just really an amazing thing where I say I've never been in a business or a workplace where I feel so many connections to so many people and all over the country. Some of my closest friends in the company are not in my backyard. I just visited the Ryersons before they moved. So the connections we make really are true and they're very genuine. And I love that. I love the extended family because that's just how it feels.
I know this is the longest Elise and I have gone without seeing each other in 7 years. It's been a while. So, well, I really appreciate you being on today. Just hang out. We're going to bring Carrie on next, but hang out and then we'll come back on. We'll talk a little bit more about our culture and just how people can get connected with us.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Well, again, you hear that we have just another fabulous female in our company, right?
I had no idea she was here in Arizona. So yeah. Pamela, I think that you and I should probably get together for coffee or lunch sometime because I love meeting other savvy business women and just seeing, just learning from each other and how we can support each other. Because as women, we have to build each other up. And like you said, I had no idea that more women lost their jobs in 2020 and they were replaced by men.
Not replaced by men, but just the way the numbers worked out to where, I don't know, it's an article. If you go look at one of the slides that Allie had, it was just in December, not in all of 2020.
Allie, you need to share that statistic again.
Yeah, share that article if you could, Allie, on the link to this, because it's just the way the numbers worked out that just more jobs were replaced by men than women. And so
it makes sense that women were losing more jobs because primarily, not always, primarily women are the ones who are making sure the kids are doing, whether it's Zoom, right? Zoom, or if it's in person. So for example, my sister and my brother-in-law, they both work. My sister works at SeaWorld in San Diego, right? She can't not show up. My brother-in-law works remotely, but has some travel. So I had to go play auntie and do the Zoom thing because otherwise my sister would have to call into work, right? So if you don't have an auntie right there, what are you supposed to do? So for all the women out there that are working remotely and doing the Zoom class and those teachers, my hat's off to you because that is challenging. Man, just so challenging. And to have an employer where you don't have to, I was thinking about this earlier. So when I worked the 9 to 5, I'd have to say, oh, excuse me. I don't have kids, but my cat's sick or my dog is sick. I got to leave early to go to the vet, right? So with Appreciation Financial, you create your own schedule. So if you have a vet appointment or you have Pilates at 9 o'clock on Tuesdays, that is your time. You create your own schedule and determine your own wealth. Don't let corporate America tell you how much you can make, right?
That's right. Sky's the limit. I mean, seriously. So, next we have Carrie coming up, and Carrie is not part of Appreciation Financial. She has her own financial services company. Hi, Carrie.
Hi.
I really wanted to have the conversation with Carrie because she has a unique perspective in the fact that she's in the business, not in our company. Again, she has her own company, but she knows how powerful and impactful this industry is for women. So welcome, Carrie.
Thanks for having me. What a powerful group. Woo.
Seriously. So I just wanted you to share a little bit about how you got into financial services, what your journey's been like, and then a little bit about how you and I met and all that good stuff.
Oh my goodness. So first of all, I completely re-careered back in 2001. Like several of the stories, that Lisa and Pamela shared, I was in a completely different field, corporate America. I was in advertising and marketing, and I was doing some soul searching. I had my second daughter and trying to find what I really wanted to do when I grew up. I had a little bit of background in college in finance and accounting and business, and I had been a collegiate athlete and coach. And so I through my soul searching, read a book called Do What You Are. And it took me through a discovery process of my strengths, my weaknesses, and what careers might be a good next step. And interestingly enough, teaching was one of them, counseling was another, and financial planner was the other. And what I didn't realize at the time is that all of my background really helped prepare me for financial services. And it actually, financial services is a reflection of teaching, coaching, counseling sometimes, as well as helping people make educated and informed decisions. And so in 2001, I completely recareered and got into financial services. And I wouldn't change a thing. I knew back then how powerful that this industry could be in helping people to be empowered. And I just had no idea. So fast forward several years and some moves of different companies. And in 2016, I came over to Equity Services and National Life Group, and they had a fantastic organization called WIN, which is other representatives from around the country with National Life Group Equity Services that formed a group to help support one another through challenges that we face in our industry. Financial services is definitely a male-dominated industry by far. I think the statistics are less than 15%, and definitely needed in our industry. But this organization, WIN, had at another organization, Women in Financial Services, was having a conference in Chicago. And so the WIN group had a reception the night before. And we were doing some just breaking the ice exercises. And I stood up and introduced myself and talked about my background as a financial services. And in athletics and volleyball. And I see Holly waving her arms and say, I did that too. And it was just the camaraderie of that group was a fantastic introduction to Holly and just women supporting each other in this field. And then a few years later, Holly and I stayed in touch, but a few years later at the Women in Financial Services Conference again in Louisville in 2019, we reconnected at that reception the night before the conference kicked off. And throughout that conference, we kept talking and we're just at a different place in our career. And Holly was talking about some ideas she had, and she said, we should write a book about it. I've been thinking about writing a book, and that came to life over the entire course of 2020 and pushed through. Your Ultimate Success Playbook was born, right? And our journal, which you can see my pen is in there. I am actively engaged in the journal every day, and it's been a fantastic ride. And Holly, I couldn't be more honored to share in that experience with you. So.
Well, we definitely had a great year in 2020. I mean, we had our challenges, right? But at the same time, it was really a growth experience for both of us. And I didn't realize writing a book would be so like cathartic, however you say that word, like where you're bearing your soul. And we had many sessions where there were tears and like aha moments and all this stuff that was happening over the course of the year. And, the more we got into the book, we just realized how some of these traits and characteristics, and, Lisa was an athlete too. She played tennis. Her husband was an athlete. He played basketball. I don't know what Pam did, but she's very athletic structure. So she did something too. I don't know what it is. She'll have to come back on and tell us. But, we found that athletes do great in this profession because of the trainings that we've had, right? Yeah. And, another thing, Carrie, that I'd love for you just to share a little bit about is you're in business with your husband too.
Right. Yeah, and very interesting because he's an engineer by education and job experience. And we would have never thought that how powerful our strengths would match up in this industry. So he is co-owner of our firm and our director of operations. And so what we realized is that we wanted to put our people on our team in the best position possible to work in their strengths. So I am not very good at compliance and understanding all that needs to be done there, as well as paperwork and administration and technology. So what happened is when John joined, it took me a while to recruit him, interestingly enough, but he joined us as our director of operations, and wow, developing systems, taking care of all the things that the advisors don't like doing or aren't great at. That goes back to some of the concept we talked about in the book, is just teamwork. How do we put the libero in the best position to be successful? For those of you who don't know, the libero is the crazy quick defensive player in the different colored jersey on the volleyball court. But how do we put people who are good at things in the best position to succeed? And so we've been working together now for coming up on 7 years. And that is when our practice really, really took off.
It's so interesting because, Bobby and I have been working together now about 5 years, 6 years. 6 years. He came in 1 year after Lisa. And the reason why he came into the business is because he owned a construction company. And then we had a baby when, we were in our 40s already. I was 43 when I had Jackson. And my father-in-law has owned a construction company his entire life, and his back is messed up, it's often hurt, and Bobby took a look at that and he's like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be like my dad and I'm not going to be able to play catch with my son. So he decided to make that transition from construction into Appreciation Financial. And at first he was doing both. And then finally it got to a place where I was making enough money to where, I could say, like, just do X and then let's get rid of this construction company so we can focus on Appreciation Financial. And it really has taken us a couple of years to get into the swing of things. But I think this last year, especially with us being in this virtual environment, that he has really caught on to what he's best at in this industry, because he's really good. Even in his construction business, he was really good at acquiring the clients, taking care of the clients, making sure they had the best thing possible. But where his struggle was like the paperwork and the follow-up, right? And so we have somebody that does that for us. And so he is just thriving now here in Appreciation Financial. We've really been able to put the right person in the right position, just like you were talking about.
Right.
In our book, we also talk about, some of the things that women need to do in order to be successful. We talk about having confidence and courage and humility and how to stand up for yourself and some of those traits. What would you say, we're not going to spend all the rest of the time talking about this, but what would you say is, kind of some of the most important things now that the book is finished that we really need to start, that you've been really talking more about since we've finished wrap up on this?
Well, right. And there's many, but reoccurring themes are, breaking through obstacles and being able to see past challenges. We've all dealt with challenges over the years. We've dealt with a lot. We're still dealing with some. And spinning that to focusing on the possibilities of success, right? That could be right after you break through that hurdle, that obstacle, the fear, whatever previously had gotten in your way. And that happens for a variety of reasons. Different strategies work, but I think being able to, and it's somewhat becoming top of mind for everybody, but pushing through just so on the other side of that obstacle is often a breakthrough. And so often we're so close to it, and we people stop short, but they were so close to getting through. And so seeing through the possibilities, having the courage to face those obstacles, get help, and really get beyond that. That's a big one. I think also being proactive and assertive. We talk about that as a very important trait that a lot of women and a lot of men, but mostly, that oftentimes that characteristic, liken it with competitiveness as well. We talk about it in the fierce chapter of our book, but being assertive is a great quality. Being proactive and competitive are great qualities. It's somewhat knowing when to use them and when maybe to dial it back a little bit. We both talk about our mothers and also other influential women in the world, in our world, in just being assertive and confident to use that voice, speak up, because your input is very important. And it's over and over and over again, it has shown fantastic results, but it's not easy. It's not easy. We tell some stories about how, we felt that we were, stifled, or maybe women in general have been. And so it's not always easy to speak up or be proactive or assertive, but certainly when we have, it's been a big impact. I know for me, that has come in being, somewhat my why is being an advocate for our clients. I may not always speak up or be assertive for myself, but when I'm motivated or convicted because my clients are facing something tough, in 2001 and 2008, going through very difficult times in our country, even most recently in 2020, being advocates for our clients helps me to be more assertive and speak up on their behalf. And so often that's what my motivation comes from there. There's many more, but I wanted to certainly highlight those couple.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes when you do speak up, you're not the most popular. I'll tell you that right now. But at least you get your voice heard and you give people something to think about. So I love that, advocating not just for yourself, but for those that you're working with.
Absolutely.
Well, Carrie, thank you so much for being on. I want to bring the other ladies on just so we can talk a little bit about culture, and make sure you take yourselves off mute. So, Lisa, we have our fierce moments that we've talked about before, right? And then we also have to say, okay, this is the feedback that you're getting, that you're not getting, but I'm getting about you. So let me coach you on this, right? So, I love that, right? I love that we have other women in the company, in the business. We're working together a little bit, Pamela, just on being able to go to and bounce things off of. So with our culture, and you can talk about your culture at True Wealth, Carrie, but with our culture, what do you think are some of the most important things to point out about coming to work at Appreciation as far as our culture goes? So, we help a lot of people. We create life-changing wealth. We get better every day. But what do you think are some of those most important things, Lisa?
Those are all very important, but I think it's fun and family, right? That's like when I think of appreciation, I think of fun and family, because if you aren't enjoying where you're working and you're not loving the people that you work with, it is time to make a change, because it doesn't have to be that way, right? Like, I love our leadership team. I love our agents. I love seeing everybody in that. I think that is truly why we don't have a high turnover, right? We have, our agents are with us and our leadership's with us for many, many years, right? Holly, you've been there for 9 years. I've been there for 7. Pam, are you about 4, 6? Oh my goodness, 6. Right? And there's other people that have been there for 10 or more. And so it comes down to the culture, and it comes down to just having fun every single day. Because if you're not having fun, it's not worth doing.
Can you believe I haven't seen you in over a year?
I know. Makes me very sad. I'm used to seeing you at least like 4 to 6 times a year.
At least. At least.
I know.
Pamela, what would you add to that about culture and some of your thoughts on that?
I mean, fun, family, drive, those are sort of our cultural elements. And I would say we hit all of them as a group. The drive part, I mean, women, men alike, we are competitive, whether it be with ourselves or with others. But I think that's part of what keeps us all going a little bit. But we have fun with it. I mean, it's a fun, positive, still, I think, lifting competitive culture.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carrie, what would you add to that about your True Wealth culture? I mean, I don't know all of your guys' mottos and all that, but you can certainly share some now.
Well, I think the only thing that I would add is collaboration. So you mentioned it earlier, bouncing ideas off of people, whether that's internally within your team, leadership at the conferences. We also do that with other professionals. CPAs and attorneys and things, and we're really the general manager or the head coach trying to pull in the different collaboration. So that's about the only thing that I would add to what Lisa and Pamela already mentioned.
I think it's so interesting too, because I don't know if Lisa and Pamela know this, but Carrie and I had Mehran Asadi, who's the CEO of National Life Group. We have an interview in our book that he did with us. And the cool thing about the interview was how excited he was that Carrie and I were working together. Like, because she's on the career side and we're on the independent side of, National Life Group. And to see how that collaboration's where we're not looking like I'm competing with Carrie, we're just collaborate with each other. So I think that's really cool too, that, Mehran got so fired up about that piece of it that you just shared about Carrie. Well, finally, is there anything else that you just want to share with the audience that I haven't asked you that I probably should have? Does anybody have anything?
I was going to add, it just came to mind as you were talking about Mehran, because so much of the values of an organization come from not just what they say, but the walk that they walk. And so I would talk about, and Lisa mentioned it earlier when she was talking about that philanthropic side and giving back. So much of what all of us do is to help other people, and help us all rise together. But so much is also, how can we give back to those who are in the most need? And National Life Group does it. You all do it. We're actually donating a percentage of the sales of our book and journal to two non-for-profit organizations. So this is a way to live your values in what you do as a career and make an impact, not only with your clients, and although that's very important, your family, but so many more. And everybody on this group talked about, giving back.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the big things at Appreciation Financial. We haven't done as much giving back during this pandemic as we normally do. However, I think there's still opportunities out there for us. Well, ladies, I just want to say thank you once again for being a part of this month's summit. Absolutely fabulous, as always, as I knew it would be. Let's go ahead and have Mary come back on and put the slide up so we can see how to get in contact with everyone. Hey, Mary.
Hi, I'm going to go ahead and show.
Yeah. What do you think? Good one.
Oh my gosh, I'm always, again, every time I do this, and I know your story. So I know, I know your story. I know Carrie's story. I know the AF story, but every time I'm like sitting here like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. And oh my gosh, that, look at what they're doing, the opportunity to give back and to have that flexible schedule and to uplift other women and help them define their dreams and achieve their goals, right? It's not like you're saying, yeah, join my team, you're going to make 6 figures in 60 days, because that's just BS, right? Let's be realistic. But the opportunity is endless. This is what I hear. Like, however much, whatever time you want to put into it, you're going to have the support. You're going to have the team that backs you up. So it is like having your own business, but having a full support team. Tell you, I could use a full support team on certain days. Like this week, Holly, I need a full support team behind me, but I don't have that yet. But with Appreciation Financial, you're starting your own business. You're defining what that role is for you. How much do you want to work? How much do you want to make? But you have the support of you and this fabulous team. So I just love it. Should we bring up the final video and show so people can learn how to connect with everyone? I'll bring up the slide and then the video again. So
okay, perfect. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Thank you all for joining, and we'll see you back here next month. Watch for some social media posts coming out of telling you when, who, and why that we'll be talking to everyone next month in March.
Wow. 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 Wow.